Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Substitutes to Shit. I have with me Mr. Brian Thompson, up and coming artist, and I just want to talk to him a little bit about his art and how he got started. So, how you doing, Brian?
I'm good. Literally just woke up like an hour ago, but I'm good.
Okay, okay. So let me get straight to it. What made you decide to start doing the art? Like, I know everybody had to take art in high school, so we've all had some experience drawing and painting and whatnot. But what made you feel like you could actually do this, like for real?
I didn't take art in high school. I took music instead because I got into it with my art teacher over something else. We weren't allowed to wear white T-shirts at one point in time, so I didn't take art. But I figured out that I could draw when I was about 19. I had to do a group project, University of Memphis, and I drew something. I was like, this is pretty good. Like, this is actually pretty good. And it just led to me. I basically just started drawing other things. I worked at JCPenney at the time. I would see T-shirts I liked, and I try to replicate what I saw. And over time, it just got like extremely nice. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can actually be an artist. That's kind of what happened.
Did you take any type of classes in like college or any type of formal training, or just all self-taught?
I am 100% self-taught. I do get other artists to kind of give me pointers about like what they do, and when they have like I tend to go to professional artists and ask them, okay, well, how do you do this and how do you do that, and they'll a lot of them turn you down, but a lot of them will teach you things. So that's
Mm,
kind of how I you know got better in my approach and how I learned about it, because I didn't have any training at all.
okay, okay. So, about how long have you been doing it then?
Like I said, since I was about 20, so right around 9 years now. I didn't take it seriously until last year when uh, my ex at the time, she told me that you could really do something with that, and you could really sell it, because I'd buy your stuff, and she encouraged me to go ahead and pretty much go for it. I just
Mhm.
practiced until I got to the point where people were actually willing to buy my stuff, and that's so about 9 years I've been doing it, and a year and a half probably professionally.
Okay, okay. Is monetization important to you? Like, would you still do this if you weren't getting paid for it?
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't take as many commissions probably, but I'd still do it because the funny thing about it, like I said, for 9 years I've drawn something for 9 years every day. I have a portfolio of about 4,000 drawings, like no lie. So it's just something I do every day, regardless of whether I'm getting paid or whether it's for someone. A lot of it is just for me.
Hmm. So, what were your influences, like the things that inspired you to draw? Like you mentioned, you saw things at J.C. Penney. Are there any other things that really kind of captivated your eye and like I want to replicate that or do something similar to it?
Let me see. The earliest influence I had was a guy named, he's on Instagram. You should check him out, by the way, too. Robotox. He take all these characters and just create, new spectrums and new, things from them. Like he took you know, he inspired me to do my mashup series. I have a mashup series where I take, Mario, and I draw him as different people because I see him do mashups pretty much every day. There's also a guy named Junk Food J. He's based out of LA. He's also on Instagram. You should check him out as well. He he does this he did a series where he would take celebrities, and if he liked them, he'd draw them in a nice light. But if he didn't like the celebrity for whatever reason, he kind of draw them in this, I wouldn't say demonic, but it's like he aged them, but it still had the likeness. And I thought that was pretty cool. So he's one of the first ones I hit up as well. So those are my biggest ones, my biggest influences. J Tune J, also on Instagram. Check him out too. He he got me into the cartooning aspect of it because I just saw just the colors and everything else. And it just made me want to continue to do it myself. Because, at first I was doing portraits and things of that nature, still life, trying to go the traditional route since I didn't have that foundation myself.
Okay. Do so when you first have people like ask you for your work, like ask you to take a commission or whatever, like how did that make you feel like the first time that happened?
The first time it happened, my thought was why, because I was like, this isn't my best work, but hey, if you like it and you want to get that, that's fine with me. But as it kept going, I started realizing that, I guess, artists are their biggest critics, and that somebody's going to like what you do. So, after people started asking me, it started humbling me. And I started, feeling like, okay, well, it made me give 100% for everything that I did, because if you thought enough to want my stuff or want me to do something for you that you were going to hold dear, and it was incumbent upon me to make sure that it was everything it could be. So
Okay. So right now you don't like live off your artwork, right?
not 100%, but it does help pay bills. I will say that. I literally just paid a bill yesterday with some art that I sold.
Do you imagine in the future that you could live off your art?
Over time and exposure and getting my artwork out there, things like this where I do, forums and interviews and things like that, you actually could. I was skeptical about it at first because, I'm from a traditional household. My mom and dad were, you work. My dad was a police officer. He worked like 1,000 hours a week. So, he instilled that into me because, at one point I had 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been without a job. I also have a daughter, so I have to make sure that, that she's taken care of. Shout out to Kennedy, Super Ken. But I found out that you can do it. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have sleepless nights. You're going to have a lot of that. But I mean, it's, when you're doing it, you love drawing, so you don't look at it as work. But you can.
I mean, it would be amazing to really be able to have your job, so to speak, be like your passion. I mean, that's the best job you could possibly have. Are you taking any steps to like make your art better other than just practicing every day?
I am. Like I said, I'm always petitioning other artists for, okay, well, how do you do this? I try networking with other artists. I actually, started a lot. I'm going to take a semester, and go to art classes. But what I've been doing in the meantime is, there's a lot of artists that, basically run their classrooms from online. They have websites and stuff like that. I recently just subscribed to one. Like I said, J2J, he's one of the guys that does it. And, he has tutorials and things like that of how to, how to do things like, figure out perspective and color blending, different techniques of painting and stuff like that. I've switched over to digital art recently. I was originally a traditional artist, pen, paper, graphite, acrylic. I've never done oil paintings, but I've done watercolors. And, I've been trying to learn, the digital aspect of it because that translates a lot better and it's a lot quicker. And you're able to get your commissions out way quicker than if you're just sitting there and, okay, every day I want to get a pen and a piece of paper or a canvas and start drawing things out. And, material-wise, it saves a lot as well.
Do you feel like there's a difference in the way people receive art that's made, say, the more traditional route versus being made digitally?
It really depends on the person because some people believe that, digital, art it takes away from the personality and the closeness of it. I personally don't think so because since I've been doing digital, I love it. I feel like, I have a lot more control and there's, more I can, detail I can put into it. Like you can't zoom into a piece of paper, but you can zoom into, your tablet or your phone or whatever you're using. You could put those extra details in that, maybe you couldn't do if it was a traditional piece. But then again, I do know what they mean. Like when you have a traditional piece, you know the person put heart and soul into it, because there's no such thing as erasing when you do that. Like you put paint down on something and you either got to fix it or roll with it. And, there's the personalness to that. And so I can understand what some people say. But digitally, you're going to get it faster, way faster. Like I'm talking about, 2 to 3 weeks faster than you would if you were to do traditional, especially if you have a heavy caseload like I do. At any given time, I have 10 to 15 people, trying to get something, or in the process of starting them trying to get something. And you do that traditionally, you're going to be bogged down for at least 2 months.
Do you feel like that changes the price point? Like people that do it traditionally could charge more, or do you think it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters, because it's all about the quality of your work.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain artists that will charge more when you do it traditionally, because the materials cost more. With digital, I just have to basically get canvases and things like that and take care of shipping. When you do a traditional piece, case in point, I use something called Copic markers. They're an alcohol-based marker that, blends very well. You can take different colors and make sure that they overlay and things like that. Those things cost $8.99 a pen.
Mm-hmm.
And on any given piece like of work, I may use 20 to 25 different colors. That's $8.99 times 25 colors. Yeah. That's a lot of money. I literally have over 300 Copic markers right now, and I'd say that was well over $1,500 worth of stuff that I paid for. And it's been over time, of course, but you have to recoup your money from those materials. So it really comes down to the artist and his personal preference. I try to keep my price points, pretty similar, unless you get something just outrageous and I have to raise the price.
Yeah.
And, it depends on the artist.
Okay. So I don't know much of anything about art. I know if I like it, when I see it, but I don't know a lot of what goes on into creating it, And so I'm wondering, when you get started, like when someone gives you a commission, like how do you get started? Do you have to outline it first, or is it kind of already in your head already?
As I said, it really depends on what the customer comes up with, because I try to give the customer autonomy, because it's their piece.
Yeah.
I want it to be as unique as possible for them, because whenever I do a commission or a piece, I always tell them, look, I want this to be yours. Like I want it to be something that nobody else has, because that helps set me apart from other artists.
Yes.
So, when somebody comes to me, like I just recently had someone come to me from LA. He wants, I don't know if you ever watched Good Times before, at the end when they show their painting at the end.
Uh-huh.
Weird people dancing, looking like they're having seizures or strokes or something like that. But he wants that, but he wants it modernized. So, I had an idea in my head as he was going along with it. Then you have people that want things like, I have another customer, he wants himself as Allen Iverson.
Okay.
Weird, but okay, I got you. And he had a specific thought process in his head, and he didn't give me autonomy with it, and I have to replicate what he wants through words.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it, weird. So it's different from everyone. I've had a person tell me they want me to make them into their face on Kobe Bryant's body with Wolverine's powers.
Okay.
What the hell? But I did.
All right. It seems like very, very descriptive art. I want to see it actually whenever you get through with it. But is it just like the claws? Because you can't really showcase his other powers.
I have plenty of things to show you that you'll just be like, how the hell did they come up with this? And I think the same thing when they're describing it to me. And the funny thing is, I have to put that together. Yeah. So it's like while they're describing, I'm putting a picture in my own head, and I'm trying to take as much information as they give. Mm-hmm. Now, when they give me complete autonomy, that's when I'm my most creative, because I can come up with some weird things too. Like I said, I have a whole anthology of Rick and Morty as different people. I have one as the Star Wars interest, and I have Mr. Meeseeks as Darth Vader. I have one where I turned Rick and Morty into the Sailor Moon Scouts. One where I turned them into Dragon Ball Z. I have Mario as Flash, as Ryu from Street Fighter. Just all types of things that I come up with myself. I did Stitch as Deadpool. So it's just, if you have the creativity and the imaginative know-how, it can get weird, and you got to have but that helps me with my customers when they start telling me things they want, because since I have an imagination, I can picture that in my head and come up with something for them that closest matches what they had originally in their heads.
Okay. Would you ever consider doing like animation, or would you just stick to still art?
I actually have met a couple of people that want me to try that. Now, the animation is a completely different beast. I've done a few things, for animation, but I also don't have the hardware to pretty much put it together and get because you need actual computer hardware to do that, or you need a team of animators. So I don't have either. But right now I'm focusing on perfecting my digital craft, because like I said, I just started it.
Yeah.
I just started digital last, I believe it was June. So it hasn't even been a year that I've been doing digital, and I've seen marked improvement in what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So I've also been asked to start Major Comics. Look it up on Instagram. We have a original piece. We haven't exactly came up with a name for it yet, but we have different characters. I've helped with the look for a character called Zorgon. There were some that were already created, but like I said, go to Major Comics on Instagram. We're there. That's what I've been working on personally, and I've had a couple of other friends here in Memphis with me that they're all different types of artists, photographers, things like that. We're thinking about starting our own little group, and my dog's throwing up. I don't know why, but we're starting our own little group, and I'm going to animate us, because I do caricatures.
Sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
I should do one for your show.
I mean, having like a comic book or whatever that you're starting, do you have like a lot of writers or just a couple writers?
Right now we have 3 writers, but they don't do anything but write all day, so they can come up with stories upon stories within a week's time.
Okay.
I like to start helping them writing, but I'm, like I said, I know my role in this, so I trust animation.
I mean, typically the major comic book lines have each task divvied up to a different person, as opposed to one person doing all of it,
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna check that out. Like I like some of the indie comics. They tend to be, have a very fresh perspective. Trying to explore different areas that the major comic books tend to avoid. So I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Well, a black guy in Asia is typically one they try to avoid. So yeah.
So have you considered doing any of the cons, like when Anime Blues Con, Momo Con, and those kind of things to showcase your artwork?
I actually just tried. Now I missed the deadline because I didn't know how where it was, but I tried Mid-South Con, and I was going to set a booth up there. Now I have done smaller art shows, where people do come up dressed as different people and things like that. Mm-hmm. I've done one at Starlight. I've done. I have a good friend, Brittany Reed. You should check out her stuff as well. She's also an artist. She throws a semi-annual art show. Mm-hmm. And she does it throughout the year, and they have different names and things like that, and it's kind of dependent upon her mood, because she's a free-spirited type, so depending on her mood, it can be called anything. But she throws them 3-4 times a year at Starlight over off of if you're in Memphis, over off of I believe that's Summer and White Station.
Okay.
She throws them over there, and she has them sometimes down at the Cook Convention Center as well. I've done about 5 of those shows since I'm becoming professional. At first, I was just coming to them to support, but now I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about trying to do Dragon Con this year.
You should do it if you can get in. I'm planning on going there myself this year.
Well, I'm going to. I will be. Shameless plug. I dress up as I cosplay and I show up as parties to whoever you need. So I will be going to Dragon Con as Black Panther, Master Chief from the Halo series, and also Ant-Man. Just got an Ant-Man costume. Crazy.
Yeah. What's up, man? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year. I haven't been in a couple of years, so
it's my first time going at all. So
yeah. It's been really good talking to you, and I appreciate the information and the insight, and I wish you the best of luck with your art. Where can people find you if they're trying to look for your art?
I have 2 main sites you can go to. You can go to, of course, you can go to my Facebook, Brian Thompson. Everything gets posted there as well, but I have a specific artist page. My artist handle is kupatrupa901. You can go to my art page, kupatrupa901 art, on Facebook, as well as going to my Instagram, kupatrupa901. So, you can see anything and everything, all deals I have, all specials, anything that you'd like to buy. Everything is for sale, but I do limited releases of things that other people have gotten. So, you may run into one that, I've given out my 10 series ones. Like, everybody's loving Spider-Man right now, and they're going Spider-Man crazy. So
yeah,
I want to get those. I actually just got one in, and I was going to show you guys if you did want to see it, because of course I know people want to see things. So let me turn this around. Let me open this up right quick. Don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. This is one that I am going to give out today. Customer asked for this one for his little boy. I just came up with what I can come up with. He said he wanted to make sure the Jordans were on display, so I made sure I did that. But, this is the canvas. This one right here will be about $75. This is a 14 by 14. I do bigger sizes, and the sizes increase the price. Not by much. It's always going to be reasonable, always under $150. The biggest ones I have are 25 by 30s, and those are 152. So I mean, it's not for that price. Not going to get much better than that. I try to stay reasonable, but enough to make the living we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's what's up. That's a pretty nice piece of artwork, though.
I appreciate
it. You guys check him out, Brian Thompson. Everybody, appreciate your time.
I appreciate you interviewing me, man.
Yeah.